Welcome to the Concrete Briefing. I am your host, Carter Concrete. Today, we are not just telling a story. We are dissecting an ironclad narrative of a street legend, a platinum-selling artist, and a man whose life path reads like a high-stakes cinematic thriller. We are diving deep into the real talk of New York, the one and only Tony Yayo. In this briefing, we move beyond the music to analyze the psychology of loyalty, the sociology of the urban landscape, and the linguistic roots that forged the man who stood as the bedrock for 50 Cent during the most volatile era in hip-hop history. This is a factual, journalistically driven analysis of Tony Yayo's journey from the block to the world stage. To truly understand the man born Marvin Bernard, we must first explore the cultural bedrock of his identity. Yayo is the proud son of Haitian immigrants. His mother hailed from a town he recalls as Mumbai, and his father was from the heart of Port-au-Prince. Their journey took them through Canada before they finally settled in Brooklyn, and eventually, the legendary Southside Jamaica, Queens. Tony Yayo's legendary work ethic and militant sense of loyalty are not random traits. They are the direct results of the immigrant struggle. In a traditional Haitian household, the philosophy was simple. Work, work, work. There was zero tolerance for laziness. Yayo describes a childhood defined by tough love, where morals and respect were enforced with a strictness that might shock the modern listener. We see this cultural history etched into the very language used in his home. When Yayo would deviate from the path, his mother would call him a vagabond, a Haitian Creole term for a vagabond or an idiot. This linguistic marker is vital. It illustrates a domestic life centered on traditional values that stood in direct, violent contrast to the burgeoning drug culture of the 1980s and 90s in Queens. The tension between the vagabond label and the lure of the streets is where the persona of Tony Yayo was born. Every thriller has a moment where the protagonist's world changes forever. For Yayo, that moment arrived in the 8th grade. For years, he had been preserved in the structured environment of Catholic school, sheltered by the safety of a yellow school bus. But then he was forced onto the public U-85 bus to Southside. On a snowy New York day, Yayo was wearing a starter jacket at the time, a high-status symbol of success. He was confronted by individuals who drew a .38 snub-nose revolver and demanded the coat. Yayo was forced to walk home through the freezing snow, short-sleeved and in tears. This was the definitive catalyst that transitioned him from an innocent kid to a street-hardened persona. In the predatory environment of Queens during that era, material objects like a starter jacket or an 8-ball coat were valued more than physical safety. Yayo's realization that the world was real and dangerous led him to seek the only thing that could offer protection, the status of the block. He moved from the back of the bus to the front of the drug game because, in his reality, those were the only visible paths to power and safety. Now, let us address the elephant in the room, the frequent critique of Tony Yayo. As perceived glazing or excessive loyalty to 50 Cent, what the uninformed public dismisses as glazing, the streets define as reciprocity and survival. The facts show that G-Unit functioned as a paramilitary organization because survival demanded it. They were the most hated group in the music industry, forced to travel in bulletproof trucks and wear ballistic vests as part of their daily attire. Why is Yayo's loyalty so unwavering? It is because when the entire industry turned its back, 50 Cent provided the infrastructure for life. 50 Cent didn't just provide a platform. He provided legal defense for every level of the justice system, state, federal, and parole. He pushed Yayo toward financial literacy, leading to his first home purchase in Long Island. Yayo points out a stark difference between industry peers. While other legendary relationships were strictly business, 50 Cent treated G-Unit as a family unit, piecing off significant funds to help members handle tax burdens and personal crises. This interpersonal loyalty is the engine behind Yayo's stance. To him, this isn't subservience. It is a profound debt of gratitude to the man who turned the lights on for him. The narrative takes its most dramatic turn on the morning 50 Cent was shot 9 times. Yayo describes walking toward the block, only to find the area cordoned off with the chilling sight of yellow police tape. In a scene that feels like it was ripped from a movie script, 50 Cent actually refused to see Yayo in the hospital. This highlights the intense warrior culture of G-Unit. 50 Cent did not want his brother to see him in a state of physical weakness, fearing it would scare him or negatively impact his mindset. This illustrates the psychological weight of their environment. 50 Cent's grandfather later told Yayo, "You're going to have to face that iron curtain someday," referring to the inevitable, heavy consequences of the lifestyle they chose. This wasn't a music video. This was a reality where your mother's house is targeted with 22 shots from silenced weapons. For Yayo, this wasn't entertainment, it was his existence. As we analyze the culture, we must look at Yayo's critique of the modern rap landscape. He argues that a pioneer like LL Cool J remains underrated because he didn't fit the drug rap archetype despite maintaining hits for 4 decades. The industry has undergone a fundamental shift from lyricism to drill and vibes. Yayo explores the exclusivity of the 1980s and 90s, where fans had to actively seek out the music. Today, he argues the market is saturated with one-hit wonders who possess a viral TikTok dance but lack a sustainable catalog. He also notes the shifting mecca of hip-hop from New York to the South. Specifically Atlanta, Texas, he admits that New York artists are often plagued by bad luck, frequently facing indictments or violence before they can reach their full potential, citing the tragic examples of Pop Smoke and Casanova. We conclude our briefing by looking at Yayo's modern mindset. He shares a powerful conversation he had with Dave Chappelle, who asked Yayo why he wasn't constantly chasing more money. Chappelle's response was profound in its simplicity. "My belly full." The ultimate success in the concrete world is the transition from fame to peace. Having survived federal prison, violent street wars, and the pinnacle of global stardom, Yayo now finds his value in expanding his horizons. He has moved from the block to eating caviar with Mike Tyson and traveling through the Swiss Alps. He has transcended the need to be the kingpin and is content being a respected elder statesman who can walk through a hotel lobby without being harassed. The story of Tony Yayo is a factual testament to the power of environment and the intricate complexity of loyalty. From a 14-year-old boy robbed of his jacket in the snow to a man who has traversed the globe on a G-Unit passport, his journey illustrates the razor-thin line between Devil's Playground and $1 billion worth of experiences. He's not just a rapper. He is a survivor of a specific cultural era in New York that may never be replicated. This has been the Concrete Briefing. I'm your host, Carter Concrete. Stay solid.